What's going on, guys? Going to be doing a video on a comparison between a traveler's notebook and September leather notebook that I received from Amazon for $22. Basically, we're just going to go over a comparison of the two notebooks. September leather traveler's notebook. Just to share, this is a authentic traveler's notebook. I purchased this from GhouliePens.com, which is in Virginia, which is actually about an hour and a half from me. This is definitely a authentic traveler's notebook. Basically, we'll start from the beginning. If you know anything about a traveler's notebook, it's got the little notch here which connects the inner rope and the inner elastic together that runs through here, the binding, to hold your notebooks in. Basically, use the longer elastic to hold your notebooks in. That's that one right there. And you could use either or. Basically, I chose to use one of the elastics, and then I have the spare elastic on the inside in case I want to add other notebooks to it. But there's a look at the binding. You have the piece of rope going across, then you have a smaller, for smaller bindings, elastic right there, and the bigger one which I'm using to hold the notebook in. You basically have this right here which closes the notebook right there, just a piece of rope. And then you have finished edges, which I believe it's lacquer finished or some kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, they either burnt it or they did something. They finished the edges either way, finished edges. So they did a lot of nice leather work, and the inside is like almost like pure suede. So you've got leather backing and suede inside. So that's your traveler's notebook. Quick little overview for those that don't know. The $22 September leather version. Okay, here's what we got here. Which sets it apart is this is the special edition. If you were looking for traveler's notebook, this was the olive green that wasn't offered for only like a month, I'd say, or something like that. They sold out really fast. A lot of people bought them and then tried to sell them on the second market for double the price, and it was like really ridiculous. So September leather released a version of it in green, their version of it. Basically, off the bat, the edges are not unfinished, they're raw edges, so that's a little upgrade with the traveler's notebook. You've got finished edges, you don't have the little ingot on the side or whatever you want to call it. A little bit difference there. The difference in the construction, it's definitely a lower quality piece of leather. The inside is not as done as nice as the other. That is not a suede feeling, it's more of a rugged feeling. It doesn't mean anything. It is supposed to be a version of leather, probably not a higher quality leather, but it's leather and just the same. But basically, you've got a leather. The binding on the inside is a lot different. You don't have the rope going across. You just have one rubber elastic. That rubber elastic is actually looped through. It goes in there, and then it has this tab on the end that holds it in place, which basically it loops in and comes in. It does the same thing on the bottom. And then that one piece of elastic you use as the inner binding. You have an extra one to add books to it, which I have in the middle, which I will add books. They basically lock into here, and you add as two or three, whatever, probably two or three more books. But basically that is the setup. A little bit more options with the traveler's notebook because you can add a little bit more. You can add smaller books and bigger books. This is just set up for... You can probably add, they don't have this bindings for the smaller size books like they do over here, which I don't know if I did explain that. With the traveler's notebook, the binding on the inside has that smaller rubber band for smaller books and the larger one for bigger books. But that is it as far as a comparison. Do I think this is worth the price that you pay on Amazon? Definitely $22. Because in all honesty, I think the Traveler's Notebook is way overpriced. I think it's a way overpriced book. It is a nice book, don't get me wrong, but when you got a company that can put out almost the same good quality, but not as good just because they didn't do finished edges and probably took care of the leather a little bit better and a little higher quality leather work. But realistically, the price difference, definitely worth the $22 when you compare it to a book that's about $50 to $100 compared to a $22 book. Definitely well worth it. Piece of string. But yes, in my assessment, I believe that the September leather notebook is definitely worth $22. It's definitely handmade. It's definitely a nice book. Not as high quality as the Traveler's Notebook, but definitely worth the $22 because realistically, the difference in the quality isn't really worth the $30 or $40 more that you pay for the Traveler's Notebook. Just in my opinion. Opinions may vary, but made in China, made in Japan. That's what you're looking at. Of course, China has always tried to outdo everybody else by making a cheaper quality product or even just the same, just not putting their name on it and selling it for half the price or 25% of the price. It does mark up really easy, just like the Traveler's Notebook. I like it. I definitely think it was worth the $22. But there you go, guys. Just my assessment of the September leather notebook on Amazon for $22, handmade, September leather, made in China. Definitely worth the $22. Take it easy, guys.